baja así, cantando como un pajarillo, curruqui, cantando es su destino y me despierta cada mañana con su canción de amor. No hay nadie como tú, es más, eres culpable perdonándome tentación, en tus ojos me desvelo y tus labios me buscan en la oscuridad como oraciones de noche. Le pido a Dios que me dé felicidad. Eres como el viento que me lleva, volando por ahí, volando por donde quiera, como fantasma, fantasma.
Something of mystery. I implore you, come out of the comeback. Comets that rock the sky, right? Writes the stars that mistaken for propaganda. Meteors and meteorites, citations that meter the material. Materialize the fabric of reaping what you people sow. To see them for the rights and left the people find the wrongly placing. Complacent for the advocates and the advertiser. To be adjacent for the health of who's a heaven. For the sentence to deliver the message for the art that we can. Who the muscle to the massage and told the best of misogynist. Mismarried, divorced, dispersed, misinterpreted for the interpretations that read. Regardless of the reparation for the needed to restore the shell. Laughing, out of stock and they stacked up with the price that you paid the paper chase. Not even a name you after the savings of chest and cash to catch you for the pain back over the consideration for the pressure for the presidents. The United States is divided that for the mind for the men for the amendments and the state of the will be the farmers and they cultivate the piece of paper apply for the approach apologies and you could be the intentional for the logical layer to the virgin diversions and maybe the verge of venture for the vigilance. It's really unwanted painting pants and parting with particularly for comparison for the competing for competition to coming to the grips of realization for the gathering. Innate ideas for the faith fusion, for the grasping of expansion and knowledge, and knowing how to make the picture for the figure out how to learn for the expand you can have that express basic steps stones, so stoners are often take enough for the grammar for the tone to be displayed, displaced and replaced and perfecting inside of that for the response, steaming, streaming straight to the timelines without engagement to the habits and habitual thinking around about repetition, not making sense of what the divine ability to lie with the temperature with the frame of memory infused and disappeared, reluctant to feel your body shape. Projected right into the front line of aging, living in the bland and finding consideration for the final, of course to complete the complicated for the complex and content for the controversy, contrived to contribute the trials and traveling ways and violence and dismay, the parting ways and parcelling for this. I guess it's enough. Something of mystery. I implore you, come out of the comeback. Comets that rock the sky, right? Writes the stars that mistaken for propaganda. Meteors and meteorites, citations that meter the material. Materialize the fabric of reaping what you people sow. To see them for the rights and left the people and find a wrong place and complacent for the advocates and the advertiser. To be adjacent for the health of who's a heaven. For the center to deliver the message for the art that we can. Who the muscle to the massage and told the rest of misogynist. Mismarried, divorced, dispersed, misinterpreted for the interpretations that read.
regardless of the reparation for the needed to restore the show. Laughing, out of stock, and they stacked up with the price you paid the paper chase. Not even a name you're after the savings of chest and cash to catch you for the pain back over the consideration for the pressure for the presidents of the United States and the divided death of the mind for the men of the amendments and the state of the building be the farmers that cultivate the piece of paper apply for the approach apologies and you could be the intentional for the logical layer to the virgin diversions and maybe the virgin venture for the vegans. It's really want to paint two pants and part two with particularly for the comparison for the competing for competition the coming through the grips of realization for the gathering innate ideas for the faith fusion for the grasping of expansion and knowledge and knowing how to make the picture for the figure out how to learn for the expand you can have that express basic steps stones so stoners are often take enough for the grammar for the tone to be displayed displaced and replaced and perfecting instead of that for the response steaming streaming straight to the timelines without engagement to the habits and habitual thinking around about repetition not making sense of what the find ability to lie but to tell the truth of the frame of memory infusing this of being reluctant to feel your body shake projected right into the front of line of age of the been in the blend and find a consideration for the final of course to completely complimented for the complex and content for the controversy contrive to contribute the tries and traveling ways and violence and disseminating and parting ways and parcelling for this I guess it's enough.
Con un corazón temblando por ella, palabras sinceras y su alma viaja así, cantando como un pájaro, curruquí, cantando es su destino y me despierto cada mañana con su canción de amor. No hay nadie como tú. Es más, eres culpable, perdóname, tentación. En tus ojos me desvelo y tus labios me buscan en la oscuridad. Como oraciones de noche le pido a Dios que me dé felicidad. Eres como el viento que me lleva, volando por ahí, volando por donde.
Part of the statement for the announced and constituous for the necessary information at least be engaged in the interesting of the crowd. Interest of the mediocre principles in exchange. And have one's gratitude for the adjustment added to conclude the consideration. When it all fails to meet standards, you sit at the still still await the awakening for the deprivation that derived, declared upon that for the presence of the light, death, these darkness to illuminate it for the shine upon you. Summer rises, summer nights, and under the moon's glow, define directions, nocturnal condition to seek the compensation. A new day with the gratitude for the coordinating and movement, significant other for the way the world has been able to overlook what's underlying the truth and the foundation of life. No secret to the game, but it's not a sequence to find the patterns and turmoil. The truth lies in the middle of the cursed words, the being tongue-tied lack words, misled heart to be placed. Find propelling the tongue bit. Lost the foot, lost the step, and seek the right to the place to be forsaken, and never had good attraction. This would be for the weak, for those that appreciate the weak and engage young Asian agendas. Deploy the deprecation for the deep ride to the ride to the silent, for the refused refugees to coming home without the homies. Contradictories for the contracts, complete the complications for the company. Compelled to seek the seers that can be used for the lighthouse. Lightweight and patient for the door to be shut before low-key pissed off with the bathrooms are dirty for the worth of the value for the bargains and bar you gave that spirit that inspired you. It's no sweat for the perspired, the ultimate, the neo-oxides, the penalized, the penal gland for the third eye. Examples that exempt the temptation, challenging rises to the temperatures for the temperamental, for the psychological warfare that can't afford to effort. Forfeit the purpose and put forefathers in vain. Blood that blue for the color lines that crossfade as you cross the light. Christ to dim, you're dim. Who the fault, who's the dim fault for the complaining, the earthquakes and pressure they provide for the provoke the vocalist to sing the serenade. What's dope without surrendering the syringes? Sort of sorts out to be outcomes, come out the dark light in the moon. Just the peoples of the pulpit. Feed that doubt for the take offering. Exorcism for the example, for the exempt, that example for the exercising your freedom of choice. Left those rights to be given for the forgiveness. To be for the fortunate and fortitude, for the this be the giving up for the quarter of feet. And your actions complain, companies, and finally invited by the lonesome in this year. Lost sight, found the way out invisible. Back into the belief, reconsider recollection, those are conundrums. Beat that for the be better, for the being the beat. Cons to contrary, continue that for the conversation to be considered conniving. Wrongdoing yet cynical. I've been here seen since that year. Not sighted blind, that's no dear. For the be concluded, but the end of the dear to be departed for the deprived. Deprecated, alternative for decorate. Alterations, allocations, and legions to all right. All right, that for the almost being almighty, for the posing to find that possibility for the incoming. Obtain to eat the way the obvious obese. Encourage those who eat. Right to have beef with them for the chewing the meat. Destination where that merits to inherit to find the mortgage and mortuary for the monthly periods. Happening to happiness, gayest rights are taken to the streets. And amateur tell that called to him to be a protester. Protesting for the confessing the confrontations. Confederate for the race and that to pay respect. Lies to be used, the power to charge them for the death, the deal for the dates. They make arrangements to pay that to find the disruption. For the occupiers, it's winning that for the swine, for the sweep you up your feet for the clean. Get away for the vacation, the advocate for the turning your terrors, cars, terror, clouds, terrains, piles of shit, toilets, tolls, voting, seasons, flavors, never seems to come with the simply complete chaos. Dalmatian, yo tally for the Dalai Lama to the beach drama, for the impertinent, for the period to be the comma, for the come up and turn up, for the rose of the concrete, for the Greeks to turn up to the world to be the fly with the seeds. We saw those suits and roots of those who not be included to the equations for the equality, for the equivalent, for the rights to prevalent to the wrongs. Left to do with the stains of the pain, heartbreak for the breakout, pour out for the pores. Who to face that for the oil, for the pebbles to pop out for the mirrors that we hate to doubt, for the beauty, for the holding the regression and lining to assigning your signs of time till we can tell the times and we have to watch get down for the not for the down for the cause for the fact for the be the giving for the way for the agenda for the agenda for the agreed upon the taking amounts greed and past history thought about taken not to be taken serious but energies are searing as serious stars and silences. Radio for the radicals, radiation illuminated for the luminous.
con un corazón temblando por ella, palabras sinceras y su alma viaja así, cantando como un pájaro, curruqui, cantando es su destino y me despierta cada mañana con su canción de amor. No hay nadie como tú, es más, eres culpable, perdóname, tentación, en tus ojos me desvelo y tus labios me buscan en la oscuridad, como oraciones a la noche, le pido a Dios que me dé felicidad. Eres como el viento que me lleva, volando por ahí, volando por donde quiera, como fantasma, fantasma, como fantasma, fantasma que a veces aparece. Es más, eres culpable, perdóname, tentación, en tus ojos me desvelo y tus labios me buscan en la oscuridad y las líneas de la noche le pido a Dios que me dé felicidad, mucha paz para mi madre y mi padre, hermanos, yo si he estado muy bien mal, ten piedad, ten piedad, ten piedad, ten piedad, de hecho somos de la misma sangre.
Part of the statement for the announced the constituents for the necessary information to at least be engaged in the interesting of the crowd. Interest of the mediocre principles in exchange. We have one's gratitude for the adjustments added to conclude the consideration. And when it all fails, fails to meet standards to sit at the stillest to await the awakening for the deprivation that derived, declared upon that for the presence of the light, death, these darkness to illuminate it for the shine upon you. Summer rise and summer nights, and under the moon's glow to find directions, nocturnal conditions to seek the compensation. A new day with the gratitude for the coordinating and movement, significant other for the way the world has been able to overlook what's underlying the truth and the foundation in life. No sequel to the game, but it's not a sequence to find patterns and turmoil. The truth lies in the middle for the cursed words to being tongue-tied, lack words, misled, hard to be placed. Find a propelling a tunnel vision. I lost the footnotes and stepped to seek your rights. The first to be forsaken and never have attraction. This would be for the weak, for those that appreciate the weak and engage young Asian agendas. Deploy the deprecation for the deep pride to ride to the silent, for the refused refugees to coming home without the homies. Contradictories for the contracts, complete the complications for the company. Compelled to seek the seers that can be used for the lighthouse. Lightweight and patient for the door to be shut before low-key pissed off with the bathrooms are dirty for the worth of the value for the bargains and bar you gave that spirit that inspired you. It's no sweat for the perspired to deodorant, the neo-oxides, the penalized, the penal gland for the third eye. Examples that exempt the temptation, challenging rises to the temperatures for the temperamental, for the psychological warfare that can't afford to effort. Forfeit the purpose and put forefathers in vain. Blood that blue for the color lines that crossfade. Lines you cross the light. Christ to dim, you dim. Who defaults, who's the dim fault for the complaining, the earthquakes and pressure they provide for the provoked the vocalist to sing the serenade. What's dope without surrendering the syringes? Sort of sorts out to be outcomes, come out the dark light in the moon. Just the pupils of the pulpit. Feed that doubt for the take offering. Exorcism for the example, for the exempt, that example for the exercising of freedom of choice. Left those rights to be given for the forgiveness, to be for the fortunate and fortitude, for the this be the giving up for the quarter of the feet, and their actions complain. Companies invited by the lonesome of this year. Lost sight, found the way out invisible. Beckons the belief, reconsider recollection, those conundrums. Beat that for the be better, for the being to beat. Cons to contrary, continue that for the conversation to be considered conniving. Wrongdoing yet cynical. I've been here seen since that seer, not sighted blind, that's no dear. For the be concluded, but the end of it, the dirty departed for the deprived. Deprecated, alternative and decorate, alterations, allegations and legions to all right. Or arrive at the almost being almighty for the posing to find that possibility for the coming. Obtain to eat the way the obvious obese. Encourage those who eat. Right to have beef with them for the chewing the meat. Destination where that merits to inherit to find the mortgage and mortuary for the monthly periods. Happening to happiest, gayest rights and taking it to the streets. And amateur tell that call to him to be a protester. Protesting for the confessing of confrontations. Confederate for the race and that to pay respect. Lies to be used, the power to charge them for the death, the day for the dates. They make arrangements to pay that you can find the disruption for the occupiers, to swindle that for the swine, for the sweeping you off your feet for the cleaning, a getaway for the vacation, an advocate for the